But in fact, it was simply that he has seen it before because he was alive when Dumarcet Estimé became president and the United States overthrew him as well. Every time we plant a seed, they say, kill it before it grows. It's not just a song by Bob Marley, it's the reality of Africans on the planet. It's not true that Haiti has never had good leaders. We've had plenty of good leaders. But every time we had one, whether it is Dessalines, the white supremacist forces conspired and assassinated him. Whether it was Lysius Félicité Salomon, who ruled Haiti in the late 1880s, who took the Haitian currency from a period where it was called Zoare Bourrique, meaning donkey's ear, to explain how it was worthless. You needed 1,000 good for $1. This one person put so much discipline in Haitian finances that by the time you reach 1887, you only needed one Haitian good for $1. Well, what was the behavior of the civilized world towards Haiti at the time? Well, take a look at 1883, when diplomatic representatives of the United States, Britain, Spain, Sweden, for crying out loud, okay? They all sign an ultimatum saying that either the government of Lysius Félicité Salomon pays reparations, which is really a ransom, to some of their locals who were doing business in Haiti, on account that they claimed that these people had lost some of their property during unrest that had taken place a few months earlier. Unrest that they instigated, as is happening in 2024. And then the Haitian treasury had to pay those people those ransoms. A few months later, an old woman who's British claims that she also lost some property. And the British show up with their cannons pointed at the National Palace and demand $1 million, or they're going to take over Ile de la Tortue. You can just go and verify all of that. This is throughout the 19th, the 20th century. The white supremacist forces have this habit of identifying fancy names for their crimes. They used to call this gunboat diplomacy. You hear the word diplomacy, you'd never know that they're talking about arms robbery. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, armed robbery. And that's what France did to Haiti. And then, like I said, in a given year, you'd have the French show up, the British, the Spanish, the Americans, and sometimes they gang up and come together. For instance, in 1825, when the French came with 15 warships, some of the ships came from the Netherlands. They got help from the Americans in order to steal all of the products that Haiti was making from 1825 to 1947. And so it does get tiring when you have to explain all of this, and it's right there in the history books. It's right there in the recorded history that indeed Haiti is an international crime scene. It is not bad governance that yielded the catastrophe that we see right there. Of course, there are Haitian criminals who participated in this. Some of them were presidents, some of them were prime ministers, some of them were ministers. But I posit to you that if China or Russia had the power to impose on you Timothy McVeigh as your president, the United States wouldn't be pretty either. It's not rocket science. Every country has criminals. The difference is that in Africa, such as in the Congo, when the people of the Congo elect Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba, the Belgians have the ability to call on their American cousins, their Canadian cousins, use the United Nations to kidnap Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba who was only 35 years old. Do you understand what this means? After decades toiling to enrich the Belgians, the Africans of the Congo managed to get their own prime minister, and then the white supremacist world gang up this 35-year-old man is beaten, humiliated, and then murdered. His bones put in acid, his teeth kept as trophy. And those criminals felt so comfortable that very recently they were doing TV shows, demonstrating the teeth of Patrice Lumumba. And then they put in power Mobutu Sese Seko. And later on, when people are observing that on one of the richest territories on planet Earth, the Congo, you're finding some of the most impoverished human beings on the planet. And they say, well, it's because you had a dictator named Mobutu. No, the people of the Congo did not put Mobutu in power, just like the people of Haiti never chose barbecue, never chose Guy Philippe, never chose Michel Martelly or all of these criminals or Baby Doc or Papa Doc. We, every time we had a choice, we elected Jean-Bertrand Aristide. And twice he was kidnapped by the United States in coalition with the French and the Canadians. And in the latest kidnapping of President Aristide, a French ambassador admits that one of the reasons why they participated in this crime is because President Aristide had the audacity, the brilliance, I would say, to demand that the French return the ransom, because Haitians are not angels. We need our money to build our infrastructure. I am currently traveling, like Glima said, that has been my privilege with my work. I traveled a lot. And I see what people do when you invest in infrastructure in your countries. In Haiti, where I live, my native town where my father was born, my grandfather was born, if it rains, people die. There's no reason for that. That's because there's not a tunnel in the whole island. There's no infrastructure, and that infrastructure was stolen from us because the money that was collected by France was collected during the Industrial Revolution. It's the time when everybody was building their major cities. And during that time, a people who have spent 300 years feeding white men and women, including with their very breast milk, because the breast milk of the African woman was stolen from her. It's that people from whom they had stolen those, what the New York Times estimated to be $115 billion. So please do not pretend to be surprised when you see naked and hungry and malnourished children in Haiti. No, this is the direct result of US foreign policy, Canadian foreign policy, French foreign policy, European foreign policy, and it is the failure of our generation. And of course, it is chiefly the failure of the so-called Haitian elite who have settled for flag independence, paper independence, to pretend that Haiti is independent, when in reality, the situation that we're living in 2024 is very similar to what our ancestors were facing in 1791 when they rose up.
Jeffrey Haiti, sorry.
Yes,
you're concluding.
I'm concluding to say that just like you see today on the Atlantic Ocean, Black Haitians, Black Dominicans, Black Jamaicans, because you do not see white Haitians, white Dominicans, white Jamaicans who exist. You do not see them taking the boats and crossing the Atlantic trying to reach Miami. Well, just like you see it in 2024, in 1791, they were going to those islands, transported by the very people who today are the richest in Jamaica, the richest in Haiti, the richest in Trinidad, the richest in the Caribbean. We need to truly espouse the ideals of the Haitian Revolution, tout moun c'est moun, not a black supremacist empire. That's not what Dessalines built. It's an egalitarian, which means truly you treat human beings on the basis of what they do and not on the color of their skin. Thank you.
I pass the wand to Terry. Thank you, Jafrique Haiti. Hope we can talk about the demands of the March 16th meeting, maybe during the exchange between the speakers.
Yes, hi, my name is Terry Falbo, and I am also a member of the Labor Community Alliance that's sponsoring this forum. And I would like to thank our previous speaker for giving such a wonderful overview and history for us to really contemplate on and follow up with. And next we have Rod Joseph, who will be speaking. I would like to introduce him. Rod is a native of Haiti. He migrated to the United States at a very young age. He later joined the military to serve in the United States military, and he was a special type of officer in the military, and he also earned a Purple Heart. He was a logistics officer in the military. And in addition to all the degrees that you might have read about that he has that were on the flyer to introduce this, he also has received a PhD in international relations. So he's very well versed to speak to us today. So without further ado, can the other thing, how could I forget this? Rod is also running for U.S. Senate here in Florida, U.S. Senate opposing Rick Scott. So hopefully people will also look more into his candidacy. Rod, go ahead.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Jafrique. Brother, I've been watching for a long time, and we share a few other forums in the past. As a historian, I love because Jafrique was in my lane. I have a master's in history. So what he was saying is always, I feel like I was in the class learning while I'm just consuming everything with the energy. Above all, I say thank you for everybody that's here today and that's concerned about Haiti, different ethnicity, different group, that concern. We really are a community when it comes to fight and take a stand against injustice and injuries of imperialism worldwide. To go back, continue with what Jeffrey did when it comes to Haiti, I'm on top both in 1990 and go back to 1870, give her to 1902. In 1991, after the Soviet Union was collapsing with the deal with Gorbachev and Mr. Reagan, Haiti was the first country in the world that's in what they call the free world, the new term of the free world, because the new world order was shaping in October of 1991. So by Mr. George Bush. Post that, we are the first country post US, the 2-1 division, that whole election that was free and fair and was chosen by the people. The whole world was witness this miracle because Vatican was against it, US was against it, Canada, but the sheer force of the voice of the Haitian people was greater than all the critiques. They have no choice but to fall in line. In 1890 to 1902, the US was in what's called the frenzy recession. The US just had an adventure in Hawaii. And the U.S. just go to the Pacific, where they start a war in 1898. They start the war in Havana and Cuba. They were in Nicaragua. They were just split Colombia and Panama, create the state of Panama. So at the benefits of the empire, the global empire, the U.S. shifted from a politic of conservative and preservation to a offensive military power. That's when U.S. tastes the projection of power. So when the U.S. invests so much fighting Spain in 40 years, by 1902, they have to get a deal with the Spaniard, so they start fighting with the Vatican as a broker. They call it the March of Character for them, where they shake hands and they just pass the colony from one another to another. So the U.S. have no backup. There's a civil war that started in Haiti in 1893, was inspired and fueled by businessmen from the U.S. With the intent to chase the European influence in Haiti. So because of that, that's why we've been chasing the German. The German was the #1 trade partner post-colonialism. We make that deal with them. We invest in agriculture. We send people, they train them in engineering. We send them back. That's when we have a class, economic class of Negroes. So from 1902 to 1922, these 20 years, the U.S. stiffened everything. People keep saying the U.S. was entering Haiti in 1915, but that was wrong. In 1905, the U.S. Navy first docked in Laguna. And then in 1907, they pressure the president, threatening to seize all relation with the German, with the British. And after that, in 1912, they came back. They asked for a loan. Haiti said no. They took it anyway. So it was 7 years in the making when the U.S. came. So that's why when somebody asks me what I'm doing in the U.S., I say I'm living on the interests of the stolen goods from my country. But it's a taboo for many Haitians. Is a scare tactic. They don't used to see people that's critiquing the U.S. government. They're scared to talk. If somebody critiquing the U.S. government, people say, oh my God, you're about to die, because they always kill everybody that speak. And it's a taboo for people like that. Me, from the Pentagon to the White House, they know I got a big mouth when it comes to Haiti. But that shows you the U.S. that saying one word and doing another. We can move back to history. In 1953, what after the creation of the CIA, the U.S. was critiquing the Soviet Union for keep embellishing other countries and the UNSS. But they goes to Venezuela, they get a coup. They go to Iran, they install a Shah, and they keep going a trend for 33 years. The U.S. was unchallenged with the help of the church. So the point, my generation, Jaffrey generation, like he said, his father did not live to see what it was believed as nothing will be changed. They make us believe in that. Nothing can be changed because we're Haitian. Wilson said one thing: the Negro speaking French to the South, we cannot let them contaminate with the ideology of independent, free people. The moment is going to come spreading to the South. So in 1929, what the U.S. do, after they stole the first treasury of the U.S., of the Haiti, they came, they give us a constitution. Roosevelt select 2 racist members at the Harvard University. He asked them to give him a new constitution in less than 2 weeks. And then he imposed that constitution. This is the same remnant that we printed it in 1987. So now, a lot of us heard of Consenfer, the paint of steel. That was Mr. Paul Lejeune Magloire. That was the shushu of the Americans. Because whenever he came to the state, They have to auction to see which state that's lucky enough to house him, because whenever he came, he took the loot of Haiti, not only come put his riches here, he always giving free loan with no signature to the United States. That was at the height of the Industrial Revolution. Haiti was pumping about $3 million a year. If you look at $3 million legally back in the 50s and the 30s, you see how much money Haiti was pumping today with no return, no money, nothing signed nowhere, just because this man was killing everybody that opposed the US and Haiti. When he came, this is the only president, the room of the president at the White House, when he came to the state, that's where he resigned. That's the only president in history, a foreign government, that house at the White House with his family and all his passes. Because when he came, they opened red carpet for him, because he was looting the sugar money. He was looting the cocoa. At the time, the US was got a volume of 72% bilateral trade with Haiti, with coffee, cocoa, sugar cane. And because of that, Haiti never got nothing. The same law they set since then still remain today. They told you Haiti, unless you got something to the penny, it cannot allow to the US. But when you got it by volume to a point that the country can benefit, they stop it or they seize it. I'm just telling you all of this because what happened to Haiti is much more than what we see. There's a war fighting right now from the banking industry, the banking and the oil industry. BP Corporation is the most aggressive right now in the last 2 years in the Haiti affairs. If you didn't know, I discovered documents from OXA, which is Australia, United States, and UK. They formed their whole pack military with no funding because Congress not invested, with hope the wealth of Haiti that's evaluated at $1.9 trillion in the next 25 years, they're gonna have enough money to build 10 submarines to make sure they got war with China at Haiti. Because if you look at the sheer arrogance they have, for people like me, I got boy that year, he's a West Point graduate. We've been proposed documents after documents or to get out of the crisis. It goes to deaf ears. But they planned a project 25 years to siphon $1.9 trillion. Imagine the whole world economy is $80 trillion. Only in the oil industry, the US already projected, they have planned to start what they call exploration by April of 2025. This is why you see they're so angry to go to Haiti at any cost. If it takes to destroy everybody, to killing all of us, even in the diaspora, they would do it. Because BP, this guy is an emissary nominated by BP with the blessing of the US in Canada. And for him, Jonathan Powell, I've been tracking him, all his activities. He makes 7 trips in Haiti in the last 12 months. But every time he goes incognito, because he don't want people to know he's there, he's the BP guy. You got another general, Pilot General Honoré. He's not called, he's another BP, former BP employees in Louisiana. And this man is like a savior. He have a bunch of Haitians that's got no character, that's always take him as a messiah. So he's gonna have the solution for the problem when both of them in return working for the same company at the demise of the Haitian people. I don't want to hold too much because I can go in and go in, but I'm gonna let the air for the host to get some question. But and thank you again for everybody. And that's the beginning of the Zoom for tonight.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joseph. I think a lot of people got a lot of information from you. And so now we'd like to turn to Reginald Leger. And Rivka is a Haitian cultural worker currently based in Oakland, California, but previously in Broward County, Florida. And Rivka is involved in a wide variety of mediums. She's an artist, cultural worker, involved in a wide variety of mediums, including visual, literary, and performing arts. She's involved in teaching and community organizing, and she's a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Rivka, take it away.
Hi, you all. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor to be here tonight and hear from the previous speakers. As Jeffrey Kaiti and Dr. Rod Joseph have been saying, they've, in order to understand Haiti, it's really important to realize that it's been a centuries of history leading to today. So I will basically talk a little bit more about some of the history up until today and a little bit more about my own personal influence of what's going on the ground. And so to go back to the three call to action, I want to go back. One of the first call to action is that Haitian people should have sovereignty and right on their territory. I think this is very important. After the Haitian Revolution in 1804, Jean-Jacques Dessalines made sure to write into the Constitution that no foreign person should own land on Haiti, in Haiti. And after the U.S. occupation of Haiti in 1915, it was through force and at gunpoint that the Haitian state was forced to change this policy. And I think that's really important for us to understand that, because it is right that our ancestors, understanding the dream that they wanted for all humans to be equal, right? To have liberty and equality, made sure to secure us this land. And that was very important for Haitian people to have the right for self-determination, for foreigners, especially colonizers with foreign interests of oppression, to not own land. And that is something that is not today, that the majority of the land in Haiti is owned by foreign investors for profit, right? And not for the well-being of the people and the nature there. And so I really wanted to bring that up, because I think this is a very important point of Haitian people having the right to self-determination and owning access to their land, right? And it's really difficult to talk about Haiti without talking about capitalism as a system, right? Because the whole reason why enslaved Africans were brought over to Haiti and into the New World is because of stolen labor and forced labor and free labor. And so that's really important to consider and to frame it in today's world, and understanding when we're calling for Haiti to have the right to self-determination, what does that mean with the US next door, such a big capitalist and imperialist power, and how does that affect us? Because we can see, for example, Cuba, who has dared to say, we too want the opportunity to decide our own fate and create rules and laws and policies that benefit our people instead of foreign investors and the drive for profit, and how the Cuban people have been repressed by foreign policies, right? And so I think that's really important to bring these things up as we're talking about it, especially too as Haiti has been used as a place for the US to really test out its how it teaches labor. Haiti has been used as a force of cheap and low-cost labor for generations, as my previous speakers have mentioned. And so it's interesting as LCA to think about us workers in the US and how the policies affect Haitian peoples on the ground in Haiti, and also affect working class people here, because it is through the setting of low-cost labor in Haiti and Latin Americas that then the US can come here and oppress Black and brown people in the US and pay them less than what they deserve. And with the threat of offshoring whatever production that they can. And so I think, especially since we're labor focused, understanding the lineage of capitalism as a form of oppression and exploitation, and how that has basically evolved into global imperialism today. And so, in talking about the low income, who comes to mind is the Clintons, and Hillary Clinton specifically. I remember when she was the Secretary of State in the US, and the Haitian people, most of them who are women who are dealing with having to struggle for their livelihood, were organizing to have the minimum wage there, which was less than $1 a day. People were living on less than $1 a day. They were organizing to have the minimum wage raised in Haiti. And the Clinton, especially Hillary Clinton, who was the Secretary of State then, was vigorously against this. And so, like, what does the Clintons have to benefit from the people in Haiti getting like a higher minimum wage, right? Well, they own a lot of factories in Haiti, or they sit on boards of a lot of different factories of private investors in Haiti, and they benefit a lot from it. So, like, when we are understanding how US workers can be in solidarity with Haitian people, is also understanding how the Haitian people are being exploited for their labors, how the elite here and the business class here are going to Haiti to find cheaper land and cheaper labor to continue that exploitation. And so I thought this was very important to kind of bring up. And then in the comment, they talked about how they would get here till today. And so, it's common knowledge that in Haiti, you don't get elected as president unless you have the US's backing. And so a lot of the people who have come into power since 1991, 2004, actually, which is the reason why I came to the US, was during the second coup against Jean-Bertrand Aristide, and my family, Jafrika Haiti, it was saying, is that a lot of people during those turmoil, if you're able to leave, then you leave. And then what happened is that a lot of the educated and more academic class in Haiti have left Haiti. And so what you have is the opportunity for then foreign investors to come and really take advantage of the people who are there. And so after the coup happened, and the US also backed the coup, every person who's been in power since has been green lighted by the US. And so what happened is they create policies. This is where it's really important to understand this class struggle and imperialism, because you have this situation where you have a Black nation and but then you also have Black actors who are acting against the interests of the Black people in the country. And it is because of this class differences where you have people who thinks that their benefit lies with the elite class, and therefore it kind of repropagate this idea of capitalism of like, I'm gonna step over other people to get my own. And in this case, in Haiti, is I'm gonna step over a whole population so I can get my own. And so I think that's really important to understand that our struggle, against for a free and liberated Haiti is a struggle against US imperialism, against the rampant free market capitalists that we have currently. Because, even though Jovenel Moïse was assassinated, and up until his assassination, the Haitian people were fervently against his policies. The Haitian people themselves were not before the assassination of Jovenel, that was more of an inter-class battle. And so I'm bringing this up because I've noticed since his passing, there's been a type of reframing on the news as if he was a martyr for the masses, and that is not true. That has never been the case. That is not the case. The Haitian people were never for him. But I think there's also this, something that is being brought up about not only is it imperialism and capitalism, but this upholding of white supremacy, is that the violence in which they were able to assassinate him is something that I really doubt you would see in a European country, that it would be so accessible. And so, yes, there are a lot of different systems at play, the main of which is capitalism and imperialism, that is using white supremacy to uphold these things. But I don't want us to really focus too much on the fact that, yes, this system does benefit white people, but there are Black actors at play. And if we don't look at this as the mechanism in which these things are framed, we won't be able to explain why these Black actors are at play. And so in order for us to understand today, there's been such a big movement, and I'm gonna wrap up because I know I went over 10 minutes. There's been a big movement for Haitian people, for us to have a Haitian-based solution. And I think in asking for that, we really also need to understand what we're asking, because it's the way, because of foreign policy and all of these traumatic event that has been inflicted in Haiti, I don't know if the Haitian population right now is in the best position to take that on, because of how much it's been destabilized. And so in order for us to truly be able to lead our own country, we need a period of rebuilding, of re-education, of restabilization, and also the rebuilding of the legitimate defense force of our nation. Because Jean-Bertrand Aristide, when he was arrested, he dismantled the 1955 military forces that was made by the US. But the problem is that he wasn't able to put in its place a police force or military force that was made to benefit the country and protect its people. And so in rebuilding, there needs to be, yes, a Haitian-led solution, but one that is building from the bottom up. And so this is a much more of a longer process than it is an overnight solution. So we have to keep that in mind, and not to fool ourselves into thinking that we can just elect someone and the centuries of oppression and exploitation is just gonna go away. Because there is something to say about countries that have decided to take this action into their own hand and fight for self-determination, and have the entire might of US imperialism, of Western imperialism, come down on them. So how do we then combat this, as we are also calling for Haiti to have the ability to self-determine? So thank you so much for this and for your time. And I think I went over a little bit, but
that's fine. That's fine. I have so much. I have learned a lot, and I've been reading about this for a long time. I'm a retired history teacher, so this isn't new to me, but there's a lot of nuances that obviously can't pick up in less news, and not even in schools anymore here, to be honest. So this is so important. And I want to recognize Gertie is here tonight. And Gertie, would you like a couple minutes to speak before I
thank you so much. Okay, merci un pile for mon Fabio. I know I'm going to speak in English, but I wanted to say it in French, Creole. So thank you. My thing is, I noticed this person's asking about present facts in Haiti right now and what's going on. I can only speak for our own experiences to explain that what's going on the ground right now is a direct correlation for the history. But from my own example, my uncle actually was kidnapped, and he, of course, knew we are part of for people who are Haitians on this call, I come from the family of Saint-Saric and Rigo and Remy. And what that means that in the 60s, almost a large variety of my family members were slaughtered in the 60s because we actually had newspapers and journalists for Haiti Observateur and things like that. And so on one part, we were very active. So they came in, it was called Jeremy Kassav or something like that. And as Haitians, you know, they tell you about your family. So we were exiled. My uncles were exiled. My grandfather had to go to Paris. And when Haiti, as you said, Jacques, for Haiti, I don't know you, this is the first time I'm meeting you, but when Duvalier fell, I remember being very young and the celebration with Duvalier falling because the majority of my family could not go back to Haiti. We had left boulanger, we left businesses and things like that. And every now and again, a family member would try to go, but they would get macheted. The same uncle that got kidnapped not too long ago here was also like macheted and in prison for trying to go back to get our land and get what we had in Jacques Mel and Jeremy. And so we left it alone. Fast forward to what happened now randomly. So he was in Canada, in Montreal, went back to Haiti last year. Terry knows about this, went back to Haiti because he wanted to rebuild, right? Because like I said, we had newspapers and things like that. So he wanted to rebuild and help the community. So he lived in Delma in Pétionville, build his home, and every year he would do Christmas parties. And the year that he decided to live there, which was last year, with my 8-year-old cousin, they had just enrolled him in school, and they took the Hummer, and the gangs came, and he said they blindfolded him. And all I know, I got a text. Our family got a text. They asked for $150,000 to release him. And then through social media, I guess with the interacting, they realized he had family in America and family in Canada. So what was $150,000 went to $800,000 within a space of a week. We did not know like what to do. I can't tell you when you get the call that your family is kidnapped, and guess what? The call came from a Pétionville police officer that knows of our family and family name, reached out to whoever they could find in our family, and that went to my grandmother in South Florida, and then it came to the rest of the family. So we found from the kidnapping, from the cops, the law enforcement, right? And then they were the mediator. We never spoken with the kidnappers. They were speaking with us through the cop. So my question at the time was, why can I, they know who the people are. How come they cannot go and get them, right? So, right? Good question. So I called knowing that I have some little connection, the FBI, every organization here in America. They said the embassy, literally the main FBI and CIA told me the embassy is closed in Haiti, and that there's nothing they can do. There's no one in Haiti to help with the kidnapping, right? And that they actually told us to pay. This is when it was, because we're 150 to 300,000. They said, pay the money, because if you don't, they're going to kill him. He's a Canadian citizen. So I actually had to contact through Canada. And Canada also said they didn't have an embassy in Haiti. So everywhere, the legal forces, this is why this is a ripoff, because if they know this is happening, why are they telling families to pay? But these were the same people that had kidnapped the Cuban doctor in Miami. And so they're saying the chatter is the same. They said that doctor's family's not paying, you need to pay. So literally we liquidated everything we had. I gave my part, every family gave our part. We got to like $600,000, and they, just like this, that little 8-year-old got released first. They released, they released his son first in the street, blindfolded. And so through them, that person came to a family member. And then he said, they were going to release him, but they said that they were like, if his son died or whatever, he got released a week later. But we paid $760,000 totally, $760,000 is what our family paid to release my uncle and my cousin. And when he came back and he called, and he, of course, all the crying, he said he couldn't even be mad at them. Of course, and he said because when they were taking him, they were apologizing, because he gives free food. He gives, Christmas gifts. His house is an open door. He does a lot of humanitarian, but he said that they are hungry. He said the person even to apologize that they had to take him because of who our family is, but they need the money to feed their family. And they were so young. And honestly, I can't show it now. They gave, for us to give the money, it was increments of less than $1,000 through Western Union. This is as corrupt as possible. You know what I mean?
That's
Like for
amazing.
us to be able to follow that money. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like what you all saying, for that to be corrected, we need to get American out of Haiti.
Yes.
They need to get out of our business, and for Haitian people to get along, to figure out how to govern. We don't know how to govern. Every time we try to govern, they slaughter us. And if you think that Haitians are the one that slaughtered my family, you've got to be kidding. Because in the 1960s, we know American hands, Kennedy was all in it. Like, this is American doing, this is colonialism doing, this is France doing. Like, we don't, for my grandfather to be exiled to France, they allowed him to be there. You see what I'm saying? For Aïstide, my grandma used to listen in the radio when Aïstide was undercover. You all would listen to Aïstide Apale. He's speaking in Creole. He was in hiding, right? How did he get that connection? We know, American people know, they know what they're doing. So we as Haitians, it's hard for us to collaborate, but it's that person that want an easy answer. There's no damn easy answer. You wrecked the house. The house is so freaking broken that we need to learn how to empower ourselves. We need to learn that we matter, and we need to learn how to love. We can't even start loving each other to not kidnap each other. So you wanting a quick answer is not possible.
Thank you for that. I know,
Thank you
we
so
wanted to give
much.
some time. We wanted to give some time for the speakers to be able to interact with each other, respond to each other. I know that Pascal wants to give a little comment also about what's happening on the ground right now in Port-au-Prince. But right now, first, before that, the three speakers may want to interact with each other. I know that Jafrique wants to talk about the March 16th declaration. But the three speakers, if you have any reaction to each other, 1 or 2 minutes on that.
I just wanted to bring forward the questions that were in the chat. What is happening on the streets of Haiti? What's the role of barbecue, Moise, Henri, etc.? 14 rich families. What is the present situation in Haiti? Who's in charge? Is Haiti's future in the hands of the UN, the US, African Union? What's the role of the Dominican Republic? So I'm throwing that all at you. Do your best.
Well, thanks, Glima. Well, I tried to answer some of them with some reference articles that people can look into. The fact is, what our sister Gerdy just described is an extraordinary thing, okay? This is not the Haiti we grew up with, okay? The word kidnapping was not part of my vocabulary growing up. That doesn't mean it was excellent during the Duvalier dictatorship. What we're saying is that this sustained spree of kidnappings, and these young men who are telling you that they are apologizing for kidnapping your uncle, etc. This is the fact that these are workers, okay? They're not the real kidnappers, and some of them had spoken. One of them, his name was Arnel Joseph, and before he was murdered, just 4 months before Jovenel Moïse, he had described how he was working for the white mafia families in Haiti. Those same families that if you try to write on CNN, on BBC, Radio Canada, they'll pretend that they don't exist. They're invisible white elephants, yet everybody can see them. The richest person in Haiti, his name is Gilbert Bijot. He lives in Florida. The man is on the list since December 5th, 2022 of Canada, of the first 3 white warlords that they dare put on the list of people who are financing terrorist gangs. And the reason why these kids are still, wearing ugly clothes and sandals, yet they're kidnapping people, collecting millions from them, because they do collect the money. And the money comes from us, those of us from the poor class, from the middle class who are working abroad. They're decapitalizing us so that millionaires can become billionaires. Okay? That's why when people use the word elite, I say, you don't call thieves elite. Gilbert Bijot is not an elite. He's a thief. The man used the fact that he was the consul of Israel for 25 years to smuggle illegal weapons, and those weapons are used by those militias for him to fight his rival Meuse, okay, his other rival Dib, and Arnel Joseph explains all of that. And the UN has published a report last November last October. And they confirmed that almost all of the militias around Port-au-Prince were armed by Michel Martelly, who is an associate of Gilbert Bidot. Both of these criminals are in Miami. So you don't need to invade Haiti. You need to arrest these two criminals. And that would send shockwaves to the militias. So when we talk about the current situation, and I understand Gertie's response that no, there is no short answer. No, because the United States has the ability to support one billionaire of the island who is a criminal. So it's not the first time that militias or gangs were dismantled in Haiti. FRAP was dismantled after the return of Aristide in 94. But what happened? The United States, in order to accept returning President Aristide, came with their 20,000 soldiers. The first thing they did, they went to the archives of the military and stole 100,000 pages of documents that prove that it was the CIA that created FRAP. So their only concern is to protect the ass of American criminals who participated in the whole thing. Okay? The whole question of returning President Aristide was only so that they could stop the flow of Black refugees going to Florida. They didn't care about democracy. And in fact, when President Aristide noted that the Americans were not interested in disarming FRAP, you can see that video on YouTube. Okay, it's the video where he's very angry. He's saying, je veux et je peux. He's saying that you promised that you were going to disarm the criminals, and that's not what you're doing. Aristide's supporters were still being killed while he returned to Haiti with Clinton. So this is to explain that when we speak about the present time, it would be a waste of our time to be talking to you about puppets like Barbecue, Jimmy Cherizier, other fools like Guy Philippe. These are puppets. You don't waste time talking about which puppet is better looking than other puppet. It's the puppet master, okay? It's Frankenstein, who is in Washington, D.C., who is in Ottawa, who is in Paris. These are the criminals we need to neutralize. And when I say we, I'm talking about you, American citizens. I'm talking about me as a Canadian citizen. I remember what our brother Patrick Elie used to always say when Canadians ask, Patrick, what can we do to help Haiti? And his answer was always the same. I see Glima smiling because she's heard me say this again and again. Be a good citizen of your own country. You guys are not zombies. You cannot allow, Kamala Harris, what's her name? This woman who wants to be president because her husband was president. Hillary Clinton. These are criminals. Hillary Clinton's brother, okay, Tony Rotham, was on the board of directors of CVS Mining, one of those mining companies after they conducted the coup and putting Michel Martelly as president of Haiti so that they could embezzle the Petro-Caribe funds. So the people of Haiti cannot fight that. That's your responsibility. Just like when the US invaded Haiti in 1915, it was Black Americans like James Weldon Johnson, okay, who led an NAACP investigation to document how the Yankees were murdering Haitians in Haiti. And James Weldon Johnson came back to the United States and published in The Nation all kinds of truths to expose what was happening. Today, there are people like Danny Glover who's doing it. People say, well, Aristide maybe wasn't good either. Well, I can tell you he's better than George Bush. He's way better than your, what's the fool you had a while ago as president of the United States, Donald Trump, okay? The reason why African leaders like Mugabe, Aristide, Lumumba cannot look brilliant is because you've deprived them of all the resources. Any fool can run the United States as president. The country runs on its own. You have professionals, you have budgets. You know what the budget of Haiti was when Aristide was president? It's the equivalent of a hospital in the United States. I'd like to see you run a country with a budget like that. with 14 million people who are hungry. Some of them, don't even know how to read and write. I was working in Haiti in 97, and I saw a minister of environment who had to correct his own letters because he didn't have a secretary to do the job for him. Okay, it's a completely dysfunctional bureaucracy. It's not because the people are not intelligent, but they are constantly fighting invaders. And what we need is a ceasefire. It's not a ceasefire with the gangs in Haiti. Okay, like we said, if you manage to do your job to stop the United States from sending deadly weapons to Haiti, the Haitian population will take care of these criminals. 3 weeks. In fact, Bois Calais already started. And it's because they saw that the population was taking care of it that the United States called their puppet, Ariel Henry, and told him to tell the police to stop going out there with the population to take care of business, because the population was taking care of business. Okay, so what's happening in 2024 is no different than 1791. The reason why the United States wants to invade is not to go and protect Timamun. Okay, Timamun is just a word to say, the little girl in Haiti. No, they don't care about the life of a little girl in Haiti. Neither do they care about the little girl in Manhattan or in Ottawa. In fact, they're killing us in the streets of Montreal, in Ottawa, and New York all the time. Okay, so don't let it, get you confused. What they're doing is mobilizing mercenaries from Africa so that they can use black bodies in the front line. That's what these criminals did during the so-called Second World War. Africans liberated the city of Paris, and coward white generals hide behind them. And when it was time for the celebration, they show up and they get the medals. So that's what they're trying to do. Get soldiers from the Caribbean, put the fools in front, promise them all kinds of money so that they can go and conduct black on black crime for the benefit of who? Of Gilbert Bidjot, of André Aped, of Dib, those same criminal families. And, I saw sometimes Haitians get nervous because I name these white Haitians. They say, well, you're always making it about race, because it is about race. Race and class cannot be separated in Haitian history. It's connected. I don't care if you start talking to me about theories of Karl Marx. I can talk to you about Dessalines. If you cannot listen to Dessalines, I don't need to listen to Marx. But if you're intelligent enough, we'll put Marx and Dessalines together, and then we'll get a clear picture. Because in Haiti, you drive from Cité Soleil to Montagne Noire, and people change color on you from dark black, brown to light skin or white. I was with a white friend, a white Haitian friend in a restaurant in Pétionville. I was the only black person in the restaurant. The other black people were serving food. This is their idea of the Haiti they dream of, just like you see in Dominican Republic, a black population, but all the leadership is white. Yeah, of course, they're not white. But for the purpose of white supremacy, white passing is white enough. That's what they did in Haiti. When the Yankees invaded, they took all of the light-skinned Haitians, they gave them privileges. And all they had to continue to enjoy their privileges is to accept that whites are above them. This is barbaric. We cannot continue to live like that in 2024. And so the statements that we published, I will share them on the chat, but essentially they deal with 3 things. One, Haitian sovereignty is not up for discussion. It is sacred. You cannot touch it. The second one is that we do not count on others to protect our nation for ourselves. Therefore, we will rebuild our police and our military, but we will rebuild them. We don't need the CIA to have its army in Haiti and to call it the Haitian army. We're not fools. We know it's not a Haitian army if all its victims are Haitian. No. That army was created by the Yankees in 1915 when they came in, and they only killed Haitians. That's not the army we want. We want to do what Venezuela did. Rescue our army from the School of Americas and turn it into a true national army that will shoot at the Americans the next time they try to invade. That's what we want. Okay? And we will do what is necessary for that. And we call on all Black soldiers, like our brother here, Rod Joseph. We understand how you end up in the U.S. Army. I have my own family in Canadian Army and all kind of stuff. But we are calling on you, brother, to reject any order to go and attack the people of Haiti, the people of Mali, the people of Niger, the people of Burkina Faso, the people of Palestine. That's what Muhammad Ali told us. Okay? The Viet Cong are not our enemy. Therefore, we do not have to accept orders to go kill our own people for the benefit of white people. We reject those orders. You need to disobey those ridiculous, racist, illegal orders. And then, in order to have this happen, we are calling on all brothers and sisters around the planet to rise up with the people of Haiti. And the sister who led this call on March 16th is calling for 3 days of global solidarity with Haiti on April the 20th, because April the 20th is the day, April in 1982, that thousands of Haitians shook the bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, because they said that AIDS was, for Haitians, hemophiliac and blah, blah, blah. So Haitians shook the bridge. So April 20th, May 1st, because we value work. We're not here asking for subsidies and gifts and aid, okay? We want to work, all right? So May 1st, and the last day is May 20th, because May 20th is the day that reminds us that Haiti is not, like a free-for-all. We had a constitution that was promulgated May the 20th, 1805. Therefore, the land has rules, just like our sister reminded us. One of the rules was the article that stated that no white person could own property on that territory. Why? Because at the time, property included us. And so we would be fools to liberate that land and let those criminals own us on our own territory. And so we need to go back to the Dessalines principle so that whoever attacks us knows that they will be dealt with.
Thank you. Dr. Joseph, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanna just say caveat, because when we're talking about security, this is the land. So we currently have a draft solution, military solution for the crisis in Haiti. We share with multiple organizations, including the UN. But in 1920, what the US did under President Datsigenov, he took a group of Americans that was failing to pass officer school. They take them to Haiti. They integrate them in the army. If you go look at the army 1920 to 1923 to 1924, you're going to see a lot of white officers with a bunch of Negroes at the bottom. This is the same year the US destroyed the economic class and educated class. So what they did, this is the time they took out the immigrants, the Arab immigrants, without education. They put them in position where they play the median. That means they're not at the table, but they're closer to the table. We at the bottom. So the US created gendarmerie, where it was all white officers, and then filter down to Negroes all the way to the Black. 18 May, we celebrate. Most of us celebrate as the celebration of a flag, was enacted in 1922 by Datsigenov to celebrate the murder and the dismember of the Caucus rebel. But we're so lost in history They flip the narrative. They make us celebrate it as a day of independence for us. So 18 May, Haitian everywhere, you cannot get him to work for you that day because they say this is the day they free. And this is the day they parade the body of the rebel. And on the Datigan Ave on 18 May, and the Grand Rue in Port-au-Prince, all the way to Madakolo with Timas, where they nailed the bodies of the cackles on wood placard, so they trailed them on the behind horses, where people say, this is your fate when you stand to the US. So today, the biggest Haitian celebration on earth happened on the 18th of May. In our history, me as an historian, if I'm speaking, Jack Frigaiti knows what I'm saying. If I'm speaking to the younger generation, I tell them what about May 18, they will look at me like I'm stupid. But it's less than 100 years ago. Less than 100 years ago, we got the first Air Force massacre committed in Haiti by the US Air Force. I dig history. I dug history. The first genocide in Okai, December 6th. And because of a bunch of students that was fed up with the US occupation. But all those, I'm publishing a book in July or August. It's the campaign that got me about the history. But those things, when you lack of education, you worship your master. That's why it's the taboo for people like me, for people like Jafika IT. When people see us discuss or critique, they like, oh, you cannot be in the US or Canada to discuss the wrongdoing of the US. So I just want to highlight that what the US want to do with the PNH. This is the 6th time the US create and destroy the force in Haiti. They created. The occupation, Jafrika Haiti, and noted now, they don't have a mission. They don't have a scope. They don't have a what you call the SOFA. They don't have a rule of engagement. They don't have a jurisdiction where the UN say they're not part of it because they've been masturbating over 10,000 children, the UN troop. So the UN don't want that. They give Haiti the cholera. They don't want to do it, but they say they will supervise. So every soldiers that go in Haiti or police, the UN will make $1,200 a month. The country that take part of the work will make $1,800 a month. Those soldiers will get paid $16,000 a month. Some of the soldiers getting paid less than $100 a month in their own country. They will go to Haiti to get paid $16,000 a month. So when you're in your country, you spend more in security and religion, in correction, you know you have a problem. In Haiti, look at the biggest institution is prison, government, and the church. No time for innovation, no time for education. They give you a half-ass education. This is the reason we have a country that's in problem, that's in chaos. They don't realize they are in problem. You cannot help somebody that don't know they're in danger. Because when they tell them, look at their shadow, they're waiting for sound. Because when the imperialists came, they come very silent, and they come by air, by sea, and land. But in Haiti, we're so naive. We're waiting for footsteps. But they institutionalize everything. Is a systematic racism that today pushing me to be an activist. And that's why we had, Brian, I don't know, you got something to say. Brian and I, Pascal, he said, West Point graduate, we produce multiple documents on military and defense and security, all the way to everybody, but they never really, they always say this is great, but because they're not controlling the narrative all the way to the government in Canada, they always do that. But I don't know, if you want to introduce real quick, because that would be great.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. I know that Rivka would like to say something. Go ahead, Rivka.
Oh yeah, I wanted to, say a final comment. I know LAC is in Florida, and there's a lot going on with the census and everything that is happening around immigrants. I want to remind us that this is a election years, and every year they kind of dangle this idea of immigration in front of us. Even like women's issue, but like particularly in this one, they dangle this idea of immigration in front of us. Because it's an election year. But I want to remind us that a way to handle immigration, to make sure that immigration is not a problem, is to make sure that the country where those people are coming from are stable, and that the people who are living there have the opportunities that they need for education and job there. And so in order for us to really deal with immigration, the way we need to really approach this is making sure that Haiti is a stable environment, instead of these draconian policies that the Sundays is trying to implement, or even like Trump was trying to implement. It's really important to realize that any type of policy we put in place is kind of putting a band-aid and an amputee. And the way to really go to the roots of that is making sure that the countries are free of U.S. foreign policy that destabilize the country, and make sure that the people are in this country are able to flourish within their own soil. So I just really wanted to mention that, because it is 2024, an election year, and I know this is a really big topic right now. And with everything and all the instabilities happening in Haiti and the rise in immigration, that's definitely going to be a really big topic on the news. And so I really wanted to say, like, a way to really combat, having foreign people coming, right, and over is to make sure that their countries are able to provide them with stability, education, and jobs.
Well said. Very well said. Thank you. And Pascal, you have been patient. You should get like extra credit or something. So thank you very much. But please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Candace and Jeff. And thank you, Rivka, Rod, and Jafik, for your interventions as well. I've learned so much in this hour that we've had together. It's been amazing. I'm going to try to be as brief as I possibly can. And Rod kind of mentioned as well that, so I graduated, I'm the first Haitian national to graduate from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. I came back to Haiti in 2016 after graduating and served the Haitian National Police as an instructor for 5 years. I've trained over 2,000 police officers. It makes up more than 15% of the national force. I've been an advisor to the Haitian military, the Forces Armées d'Haïti, and I also worked as I studied systems engineering and engineering management at West Point, and I applied my education as a consultant and manager of many federal level projects within the offices of the Prime Minister back in 2021, from the end of 2019 through to 2021. So what I want to share with you now is just a very, very clear understanding of what's happening currently. We're facing a massive crisis broken down into three categories, it's three crises. It's a security crisis, a governance crisis, and a social fabric crisis. And, Rivka and Jafik and Rod have already touched, I think, the most important issues here on long-term sustainable development is really on the social fabric piece. There are many security experts who can come up with ways to solve the gang crisis, and that crisis can also be solved in a relatively short amount of time. But the social fabric issue is one that really requires the Haitian people to be as independent and sovereign as possible. And we need the international community to respect that sovereignty and independence. And if they don't, then we're going to continue to fall into this cycle of instability and crisis and boom and bust. Another thing that I want to mention very quickly is this massive issue of foreign policy that pushes interventions. They don't work. They've never worked. We've had dozens of interventions in the last 100 years. Look where we are today. The only thing that interventions do, boots on the ground interventions, is it exacerbates political instability it further disrupts the healing of our nation's social fabric. One of the reasons why we have such a big issue today in terms of governance, and I haven't really touched on that issue, and I'm going to bring it in, and it's going to all connect, is that when the United States decided to prop up dictatorship back in the 60s and 70s, this was part of a much grander plan to stave off the spread of communism. What it ended up doing is, because a lot of these dictators in Central and South America and the Caribbean were iron-fisted authoritarians who often silenced their opposition through death or labor camps. Haiti was no different. It created generations of silence for people who were afraid to speak up against injustice, people who were afraid to get involved in governance, because if they associated themselves in any way, shape, or form that would challenge the status quo, they too would disappear. And what we're seeing today is, all as sad as it is, and this is a hard part even for me being here in Port-au-Prince right now, and to see everyone suffering through this crisis. As hard as it is to see, this is an opportunity, because this is the first time in my entire life that I've seen these silent generations, individuals twice my age and twice my experience, who in the past have been afraid to speak up against injustice, start waking up, start activating, start getting their communities together. What an intervention would do is knock that down right as it's starting to grow, right when it's budding, right when we're starting to see generations of silent groups start to reclaim their voice. And I think that this is an extremely important part of the narrative that no one is really talking about. And I'm so thankful for this short moment to share that perspective with you all, is that we as Haitians need to take this opportunity to come together, even though it might be very violent, because we've also talked so much about social and economic extreme disparities. This is an opportunity for, and I think Jafrik was mentioning that if you start from Cité Soleil and you start going up the hill, you go from seeing Black Haitians who are in the worst of the worst situations to these mixed Haitians up in the hills who are living like kings and queens. In fact, just as an anecdote, I had an interaction with young, unfortunately uneducated, in some of the aid work that I've done in the past with the government, interactions with these young kids, and who said, one day, I want to make a lot of money because I want to be white when I grow up. This was a young Black child coming from Cité Soleil. I want to be white when I grow up because white people make money. And I know that the more money I make, the more my skin is going to turn white. This is a tough reality that we need to face. And the fight that's happening between a lot of these armed groups and these different classes who are starting to find their voice and struggle through these conversations, it's helping to come to a national conclusion and a true national consensus that, if it's crushed with an intervention, is going to set us back decades. It's going to silence the same generations and more of Haitians who are now struggling to find their voices. And I think that I really want to send that message out there, is that we as Haitians need to band together. We need to have these difficult conversations. We need to solve our problems on our own. And in doing so, when we come to that final conclusion, we stand up a new system. And Rod had mentioned that Dr. Joseph and I have been working on multiple different plans that are sustainable, that are equitable, that are just. After that process of reconciliation, then we can start looking at partnerships with the international community and our partners and our neighbors. But if that isn't done independently and with respect for our sovereignty, then we're going to come right back into these same issues, and they're going to affect the American populace, the Canadian populace, and every other partner country that tries to help where it's not very helpful at all.
You for summarizing that. It's a great place to stop. And I know we went over time, so this has been a wonderful forum. And I thank everyone for their time, their passion, and sharing difficult topics. I mean, this is your life. This is not, this is not something somebody else is dealing with. This is something you are dealing with. And I'm just going to turn it over to Lorenzo before I get too emotional, but thank you for being here.
I totally concur with Candice, and I'm sure that totally concur with most of the people here, because this has been a fantastic forum. We have been here over an hour and a half already, and we could probably be here for 4 more hours speaking about these issues. Pascal, thank you very much for your interjection. It is really important that we continue in touch. Before I conclude, I would love to have do like Kate did, put her email address, and Anastasia did. Put your email address so we can add you on the email list, and be in touch with you with things that are going to occur in the near future. The Labor Community Alliance is committed to the struggle for justice in the world, and the struggle for justice in the world, as Jafrik has said very clearly, it goes together with the fight against white supremacy, and we have been fighting in the forefront of trying to convey that in order to be able to move things forward, because the future belongs to us. The future belongs to us, and the reality is that we together can join all the forces for progressive ideas in the future, including the white working class,